Howdy, howdy, and welcome to another wonderful trash take. So today we're going to be talking about California's failing justice system, but we're going to start off with some context. So some of you recently saw Jimmy Kimmel spread propaganda when he was on his show talking about how the shooter who killed Charlie Kirk was a MAGA right-winger. Now, his exact words were something like, MAGA's doing everything they can to prove it's not one of theirs, which is him being sarcastic in a way to imply that it is a MAGA shooter and they don't want to admit it. That's his implication there. This led to a clip from the Benny Show and the FCC chairman sitting down and talking about it and basically said that, yeah, this is some pretty bad distortion. It's in violation of FCC rules, which it is, and they might have to weigh it in on the future, but they'd give Disney a chance to explain themselves, and they would give them to see a little bit of the rationale of why they said this. Because at the time when Kimmel said it, it was already confirmed by the FBI that he was a leftist. He was a radical leftist based on the social media. It was also already known by the public that he had a trans furry boyfriend, so anyone with an IQ above 80 should be able to tell you what that means. Anyways, I want to let people know, Trump did not get Kimmel fired. You can argue soft power at best, but Trump did not tell Disney to get Kimmel fired. Disney made the order. Disney made an executive order, essentially, to remove Kimmel before they got a fat lawsuit on their hands, or not a lawsuit, before they got a fat fine on their hands. I mean, shit, they could have been sued by Kirk's family as well, but Disney made the choice to remove Kimmel before a fine was levied against them, which I guess might consider them not getting a fine. I don't really know. If it's them taking actions, it could be preemptive and they could still be liable and could still be fined. I'm not too sure how this stuff works for FCC. I know what Kimmel said is in violation. My interpretation of it's in violation. The FCC's chairman, who's in charge of it, it's also in violation. So if you disagree with me, sorry. Yeah, I've got me and the dude who's the chairman of the FCC agreeing with me. So you're wrong. Anyways, this got Kimmel fired, and this led to a lot of outraged leftists on social media saying, well, democracy and freedom of speech are under attack. We should never have the people pressured into, we should never have the president getting people fired. And that's blatantly wrong. Disney fired him. Trump didn't make any phone calls as far as I could tell. The internal conversations were Disney were to basically get his show removed because all of the ABC outlets would have been in violation for airing that episode. And I don't know how many it is, but there's a news conglomerate with stations literally fucking everywhere in America. So every single one of them that played it at that time would have been a fine. So fine times 200 maybe, I don't know. Anyways, the point is Disney removed him, and leftists on social media have been freaking out. You have Obama even posting a statement that we should never censor under democracy. And it's funny because all the leftists that are screaming we don't need to have people censored, it's a violation of their First Amendment right, are all the same ones that openly cheered when Trump got censored, when a bunch of right-wing politicians got censored. They got that cheered when right-wing actors got removed. The lady from The Mandalorian got fired by Disney for some of her comments. I think it was Pedro Pascal in a leaked conversation just said, basically put hashtag trans rights in your bio and they'll leave you alone. Like some crazy shit like that. Like appease to the horde so they won't kill you. Yeah, just appease to them opposed to stand for what you believe. Good job, Pedro. Anyways, I'm bringing this up because it's a double standard. Everyone right now is openly virtue signaling because they don't really give a fuck about your freedom of speech. They never have. They just want to use it against you anytime they can or when it's convenient. And when Kirk got killed, it should have been a very big red flag for everyone not bringing up the fact that he died while while in a public forum openly debating people. He died practicing freedom of speech. That's what made his death so grave and so worrisome, is because he was an average guy doing his First Amendment right and was brutally murdered by a leftist. Assassinated, sorry, wrong word. And no one on the left thought that that was an issue with freedom of speech. But now you have a private company removing someone who said something so egregious that they're about to get levied fines against being a violation of freedom of speech. And like I said, only argument you can make is that it's soft power from the Trump administration. You could say that because the FCC chairman, I assume, was picked by Trump, was on a podcast saying, yeah, this is pretty fucking bad and we might need to weigh in on it. But he said might. There was nothing on the books. There was nothing formally filed. It was not happening. The government had made no move yet. Disney did it preemptively. Disney did it, not the administration. But I'm digressing. This story has evolved a little bit more since then. Now, you have an ABC substation in Sacramento, California, that was shot at a drive-by shooting, and the shooter has been identified and arrested. And he's a gun control advocate. That's right, he wants to take away your guns, and that's why he's using guns to shoot at an ABC station. I'm going to play a video from a news organization. They're going to talk a little bit more about him and what happened.
His building was targeted in a drive-by shooting yesterday afternoon. 3 bullet holes were seen in the window of the building's lobby. No one was hurt, but people were inside of that building.
People inside of a building that just got shot at by a dude who's been radicalized by social media. And we'll pull up his Twitter account in a bit so you can see by radicalized. But this is a dude who basically, this is an act of terrorism. He has been radicalized on Twitter to commit an act of politically motivated terrorism against ABC for removing Jimmy Kimmel. There's a direct connection.
Thank you for joining us at 6. I'm Cecil Hannibal. We know that Sacramento police arrested the suspect this morning. KCRA3's Denzel Cortez is live in the newsroom tonight.
So he's been arrested. He was identified. He's in prison, right? He's clearly a danger to society and just committed an act of politically motivated terrorism. He's in prison, right? He's not out on bail, right?
What have you learned?
Yes, Cecil, Sacramento police arresting 64-year-old Anibal Hernandez Santana, who was released on a $200,000 bail.
God fucking damn it. That's the peak California crime system right there. A dude that commits an act of politically motivated terrorism by shooting at a substation that's currently involved in politics for removing Jimmy Kimmel with people inside. Could have been killed, could have been hurt, but he's let on a $200,000 bail. What the fuck are we doing? You don't let people out who are a danger to society. You keep them in prison. You don't allow them to post bail because they are an active threat to society. And like I said, he's a gun control advocate too based on his Twitter account. But I do want to show some of his tweets of why I'm saying he's an unhinged radical leftist, because he is. So this is the same guy that the news anchor just said, I'm not going to pronounce his fucking name. He says, basically, given the numbers of innocent people and illegal immigrants deported without cause, people killed, including Capitol Police, kids abandoned without health treatment, and career officials persecuted by the Trump administration, is anyone surprised? I believe we'll see more of this for sure. What's he talking about? If you look at the day, it's the day Kirk died. It's his response to Kirk, justifying why Kirk died. And this is why every leftist needs to understand they aren't fit to talk anymore, and I don't want to have conversations with them because they post shit like this and still expect to be considered a reasonable person. And he's so mentally reasonable, he just shot an ABC substation. But I'm digressing. It's people like this that thought they were getting buzz clips of rationalizing why Kirk died without a context bullshit. Given the number of innocent and illegal immigrants deported without cause, I'm seeing a lot of people deported with cause because they're illegal. Legal immigrants don't really get deported without cause. They get deported for violating their terms of their green card. I've seen that. You don't really just get deported for funsies. There has to be a reason for it. You're here illegally or you violated a rule, because a judge has to weigh in on it and order a final deportation before ICE removes you. They don't just remove you. They take you to an ICE holding facility where a judge weighs in on your case and determines whether or not to be removed. And ICE targets people because they look at crime databases and they see someone arrested for murder, rape, assault, stolen car, robbery. When they're put into a crime database, their status is included there, and they can see that an illegal was put in there and where they live or where they're currently at. And that's where ICE shows up and arrests them, because ICE is getting the information from the system. So this is just propaganda. It's complete fucking propaganda. And when we talk about the innocent people, what about the kids that were lost under Joe Biden? What about all the kids that were smuggled across the border? There like 200,000 kids that have gone missing, that they have court dates that they never showed up for. What about that? What about the missing fucking children smuggled across the dogshit border thanks to Joe fucking Biden? Here's about kids abandoned without health treatment. What the fuck are we on about, dude? This guy is completely deranged. He is mentally unwell, but there's more from him. Our thoughts and prayers are with Charlie Kirk and his family. May the prudence of the cost-benefit analysis for the Second Amendment rights versus school shootings live on forever. Charlie Kirk was saying the only reason to make sure the government doesn't start absolutely turning into a fascist state and executing people that disagree with them, i.e. killing you for saying that men can't get pregnant, is what is worried about. Is what you could take it to in modern day politics, because they were getting people banned on social media at the government's discretion under the Biden administration. The Biden administration had people inside his Oval Office that were issuing official letters to social media accounts to remove people they did not like. It wasn't to arrest people, but the issue is they're violating the freedom. They're violating the First Amendment right on regular citizens because they don't like what they're saying on social media. Not because what they did was in violation of terms of service of the social media, but because the government itself says we don't like this, which is violation of the First Amendment rights by the government. But this guy completely misunderstands Charlie Kirk's analysis over the Second Amendment rights and why it's needed, and is to protect the people at all costs. When you get a tyrannical government, there's no protections guaranteed whatsoever besides your ability to arm yourself to stop the tyranny. That is the purpose. That's what happened in 1776. All these gun control advocates and leftist retards completely miss the fact that America in the 13 colonies was heavily abused by the United Kingdom. They were abused. They were forced to pay taxes. They weren't getting any votes in Parliament. Any fines or things levied against them were basically up to were to be complied with or to be arrested. And they had basically a vassal state where you have people from the UK that are here that are on behalf of the crown doing whatever the fuck they want to the populace with no recourse whatsoever. There was no way to put them in checks because they've been assigned to do whatever the fuck they want. That's the reason guns are needed, to stop people from completely abusing your human rights. And I know people are going to still get this twisted. Kirk did not believe that any school shootings were justified. He merely said if you started putting armed police outside schools like you did at banks, at baseball stadiums, at events, that you would have a lot less people showing up to shoot them. Same with churches. And I believe Kirk's right. There are actions taken to prevent fatalities in cars. There's actions taken everywhere to prevent death. But there's not actions being taken in some critical areas where you probably should have them there, where you should have police officers at schools. This would stop school shootings or would significantly lower them. That's the whole point of Kirk's argument, is that you need guns to stop the government from deciding to kill you when they don't like you. And if your guns are going to be a bit of a danger to society, which they always will be because people are always mentally ill at some point and will use a gun like this guy, then you need to have people in place to defend against it. That's what Kirk's argument was, but all these people are fucking retarded. So you're not talking with a logical person here. You're talking with a mentally unhinged retard, which is what this guy was. He also said, I think the word empathy that is made up of New Age term did a lot of damage to Charlie Kirk's carotid artery. This was an out of context quote. Is it false? Kirk did say this, but he then says empathy is a new word term and it's fake, but because you can never really be in the same person's shoes. And he liked the word sympathy better because you could always feel for your fellow man. Does that sound like a heartless monster? No, but that's what that tweet here implies. That's what the out of context quote implies. And this is why leftists were spamming it on social media, because they want radical retards like this specifically to take it up, to see issue with it, to use it to spread false information, and to use it to justify Kirk's death, which this guy did. Did a lot of damage to Charlie Kirk's carotid artery. This guy's a sack of shit. And he's been radicalized by social media, and he's been convinced by the propaganda that was spread on social media to go commit a heinous act. He didn't kill anyone, but that's because he got fucking lucky in not killing someone. He committed an act of terrorism on social media because he's a weak-willed retard. He's a bitch, he's a coward, and he should be in jail for the rest of his fucking life, not let on a $200,000 bail. This is my grievance with social media and allowing unhinged propaganda to go unchecked like this for days, is you radicalize more people on the right against you, which should happen, but you also find the weak-willed retards on the left who are actually believing this propaganda and think the world has no hope and that they need to take action against it. The same ones that are saying the Trump administration got Jimmy Kimmel fired are probably the same ones spamming the tweet about, oh my God, we have Kirk who didn't believe in empathy. Don't feel empathy for him. It is the same radicalization on social media trying to encourage these individuals, these weak-willed retards, to take action, to commit political terrorism, which is what this guy did. And the fact that he is on bail is fucking crazy. He also had some tweets previously talking about how he believed that gun should be heavily restricted. He's a complete gun control advocate, and he's so in favor of gun control because you can't kill people with high caliber rifles that are limited magazine size. And then the guy that killed Charlie Kirk used a hunting rifle that was bolt action, from what I understand, that had 5-round magazine internal capacity. But you know, the arguments they make are never really full arguments. They're trying to... It's a slippery slope argument at best with gun control. They want to do, let's do a little bit of a ban, a little bit of a ban, a little bit of a ban, a little bit of a ban. Well, we've banned 99% of things. Let's just ban guns overall. That's what it always boils down to. And they're trying to be really, really smart about it, but it's always 20 IQ degenerate retards, and you're not going to convince me with it. Guns are necessary for a free society to be safe from a tyrannical government at all times. I firmly believe that. You're not going to be able to convince me otherwise. So far, no arguments have worked. I don't believe kids should be shot, but I believe we're also not taking adequate measures to protect kids from being shot. I'm not saying ban guns. I'm saying put cops outside of schools and not allow people with guns in there that are going to do harm. The whole point of this video was to talk more about the radicalization of social media and why these leftists are spamming these propaganda talking points to find more retards like this to commit political terrorism for them and in favor of them. That's what they want. That's why they did it, and it worked, and it will continue to work until these people are brought up, until these people are taken off social media, until these people are brought up on charges. This guy, what he said, making jokes about Charlie Kirk dying, no, I don't think he should have been put in jail for what he said. He said some really crass shit, but this should be a red flag used against him to show he has a history of being mentally unwell. The judge should have looked at his social media. He should have seen that this guy should be denied a bail. He shouldn't be allowed back on the street. He is mentally deranged and is a threat to people around him, and he's clearly showed it by him shooting something up. This is why these people are mentally unwell and why I keep saying they're mentally unwell and they need a wellness check. I don't want the government to put these people in jail, but I don't want them to be in society with me because it's a matter of time until they go unhinged, and that's exactly what this guy fucking did. He just proved me 100% right about what I've been saying all week, about these people being so mentally unhinged that it's only a matter of time until they commit an act of political violence on people around them, and that's what this guy did. That's all I have time for today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Was this guy completely justified in what he did? No, he fucking wasn't. No, don't even try it. You're trolling or you're retarded. There's the only two outcomes there. But I want to thank you very much. If you like this video, feel free to like it, comment down below, or subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Until then, later.